At the time of writing this, the Denver Nuggets are down 3-2, and despite seeing drastic improvements defensively in Game 5, and in particular the second half of Game 5, it's still going to be an incredibly tough ask to come back from 3-1 down against a Utah team that have been playing fantastically. Conley and Clarkson are providing great production. Gobert hasn't been played off the court like some other playoff series previously. He's actually been very impactful, and of course Donovan Mitchell has been nothing short of incredible, taking advantage of Nikola Jokic in the pick and roll and making every right decision pretty much all the time. However, this is where the Nuggets seem to have finally figured things out. PJ Dozier was doing a great job as one of the primary defenders, getting over screens and staying with Mitchell or whoever was the primary ball handler and shielding Jokic from being isolated on the smaller, shiftier Utah guards. But Jokic also started to push up onto the ball handler, which is something we were all begging to see happen. Sure, it's a clear mismatch and leaves Gobert inside, but it's better than just letting Donovan Mitchell take practice shots from the three-point line and the free throw line, because that's effectively what he's been doing all series long, going around a screen and just shooting open jumpers. Obviously, that's not been the only way he's scored, but that's been far too much of his and Utah's offense, and the Nuggets seem to have figured that out finally, which bodes well for them going forward. But we can talk about the Denver Nuggets as a whole later. Jamal Murray is flourishing in this postseason. The last 2 games, he's done everything possible to will his team over the line, like everything you could ask, everything you could do. Splitting double teams, finishing over Gobert at the rim, step back mid-range jumpers over good defenders, drawing the double team and finding Jokic. You get the picture. The last 2 games, Murray has been damn near perfect offensively. Like, he's been unbelievable. Now, quickly before I get into the video, if you could drop a like on this video right now, that would be much appreciated. Yeah, I know it can be an effort, but it's definitely less of an effort than what I go through trying to make the best content, including staying up all night to finish this video. So a like would mean a lot and it really helps out the channel. But anyways, let's get back into it. So let's talk about Jamal Murray, because there have been a lot of opinions about Jamal over the years. I'll put my hands up and say I was one of the many people who thought the Nuggets were premature in giving him a max contract. I never said he wouldn't be able to develop into a max contract player, but I thought it was premature of them to do so at this stage in his career. But credit to the Nuggets front office, because they are clearly a very smart and well-run organization, evident by the number of their draft picks both in the first rounds and in particular late in the rounds that have been great for them, not really missing on many draft picks at all throughout the years. Murray has always promised so much. At just 20, he put up close to 17 points per game on good shooting splits and looked a major part of a young Denver Nuggets team that won 46 games and looked one of the brightest young cores in the NBA. However, the next season was all about Nikola Jokic, who made a huge jump as he looked an MVP level player in 2019. Leading the Nuggets to another much improved season. Murray didn't regress the following season, but most of us expected a little bit more. We were probably anticipating him breaking the 20 points per game barrier and establishing himself as one of the best young guards in the NBA. But what Murray did show was something we already knew about him, and that was he's not afraid of the moment. And he showed that in his first playoff series, coming up with some huge shots in the 7-game series against the San Antonio Spurs, and then some very big shots against the Blazers in another 7-game series. But all of this promise and potential was still just that. It was a lot of promise and a lot of inconsistent performances. Murray wasn't the guy that you could trust to take over a game at all times. Sure, you could give the ball to him at the end of the game and have faith he could make it work, but you wouldn't expect him to completely take over for a quarter or a half consistently, at least, like all the elite players can do, and do so regularly. During the 2020 playoffs, the Nuggets have needed an answer for the Jazz's great offense and the Nuggets' terrible defense, and the answer for the Nuggets has been someone who's been able to drag them over the line on more than one occasion, and that's Jamal Murray, who has now done it on 2 occasions and did as much as humanly possible to do so in Game 4 as well. Watching the second half of the Nuggets game last night was like watching the best player in the NBA. Yeah, hold up. Jamal Murray is not the best player in the NBA and may never be, but that doesn't mean he can't have a performance that makes him look like that. I would argue in all games I've seen in this year's playoffs, Murray had the most impressive performance in the playoffs yet. Let me rephrase that. Without question, the best half in the bubble, and probably of the season, trailing by 9 points to the Jazz at halftime and facing elimination. Murray had 33 points and 5 assists in the second half. That was more than half of Denver's total points and this combined points and assists contributed more to Denver's second half tally than the whole Jazz outfit. Jamal Murray's combined points and assists in the second half were more than the whole Utah Jazz roster. Do I need to repeat that again, or? Yeah. Oh yeah, and he shot 14 of 18 and had 0 turnovers in that period of time, while playing 24 minutes without rest. But what's been the major change for Murray? Because he's always shown that he can hang with the best on a good night, but he's never shown this level of basketball. These performances are the performances of a superstar player. Now, he's still a long way away from that, which we'll talk about in a bit, but how has he managed to piece together 2 game-winning performances and a third one that would have been if Donovan Mitchell didn't inexplicably match his 50-point performance on the same night? Murray's never been short of confidence, but what has been particularly evident in this series is his ability to flip the switch. Most of the best players in the league can put up numbers and put up big numbers when they make a concerted effort to do so, and Murray has done a particularly good job trying to find his rhythm without forcing the issue. Not just entering the game chucking up crazy step back or off the dribble threes, but trying to work with the Nuggets offense. And then when he starts to see his shots go through the net, he's shown he can score at will, getting to the rim, hitting tough step backs, or using the most unstoppable two-man game in the NBA with he and Nikola Jokic in the pick and roll, with either of them often forcing a double team because of their ability to scorch any defender one-on-one. Man, these two really have a ridiculous connection. They seem to always know where each other are and always find each other beyond the arc or in the paint. The partnership between these two has probably been the most enjoyable thing for me to watch in the playoffs thus far. But just to continue on Murray's play, he just seems to continue making the right plays. And that's evident by the fact he has had 0 turnovers in the last 2 games. Yes, 92 points, 0 turnovers. Yes, this is probably something that people would struggle to do on 2K. He's the first player to ever score 50 points while having 0 turnovers. These aren't ordinary performances. These are extraordinary performances. These are ridiculous, insane, unheard of performances from someone his age and someone who was only averaging 18 points and wasn't an all-star level player this year. Murray seems to be showing a perfect mesh of confidence and composure. He knows that he's capable of having a 30-point half or 15-point quarter, but he's not coming out and expecting this to happen. He's finding his rhythm and then doing things offensively that just shouldn't be done, like just disrespectful offensive play. You shouldn't split a double team at the 3-point line and then hit the 2-times defensive player of the year with a 360 layup in the last quarter when your team's facing elimination and the game's separated by 1 score or 1 or 2 scores, whatever it was. That's just a filthy move, like there's no other way to put it. Now, if you told me 3 of his 5 performances would be this unreal, then I would probably excuse him for 2 quiet games, but in a tightly contested series against a team that is at a similar level to your team, you can't go missing to the degree Murray has been prone to do so in his career thus far, and that's what he needs to improve on if he's going to become a star player in the league and put himself in the same sentence as other young ascending guards like Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, and so forth. If there was one thing to point to as a reason for the significant highs and lows of his performances offensively, it would be his inability to get to the free throw line consistently. His game is obviously centered around his jump shot, and he has shown he is more than capable attacking the rim, but if he could focus on trying to get to the line at least 5 times a game, regardless of how he's shooting the ball, that won't only add the 4 to 5 points, but it will help him get some rhythm and see the ball go in the back of the net. Something that's a bit harder to do with defenders draped over you. It's no coincidence that the 2 games he scored 12 and 14 points respectively, he had a combined 1 free throw attempt. Sure, other aspects of his game struggled, but it's going to be hard to consistently score above 20 or 25 if you're not getting to the line at all. He's got to look to get there at least 4 to 5 times a game, particularly when he's struggling from outside. That's the next step for Jamal, and if he can become a prolific free throw shooter, he has all the tools to be one of the best guards in the league, full stop. Regardless of what happens in the rest of the series, everyone watching these games should have seen enough to be convinced Jamal Murray will be a star player in this league, and if he and the Nuggets can fix a few of their issues, he and Jokic are going to run the West. Luka vs Murray and Jokic vs Porzingis is a matchup that we can hopefully look forward to for the next 10 years. That's not even mentioning Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and a few others. I'm not going to get into all the duos, but that's just a thing to look forward to for the next 10 years. If you made it to the end of the video and you think Jamal Murray is going to be an all-star within the next 1 to 2 years, or the Nuggets are coming back from 3-1 down, drop a like and sub to the channel. If you don't think either of those things are going to happen, let me think. Drop a like and sub to the channel because it really helps out a lot and is the reason I'll continue to make high quality content consistently. Other than that, have a good day and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.